What a beautiful day here in Indiana, you guys. We are supposed to be in the upper 60s today, and it's just a beautiful day. Perfect day for finishing the irrigation system that I started in my last video. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and check it out because a lot of the things will make more sense here, and hopefully you can get an idea of what's going on here. But just to give you an update, I finished setting up all of my black 1/2 inch tubing, which is basically going to be carrying the water to every single bed that I have here. And I did all of the installation of the accessories, all of the connections for elbows, tees, all of that stuff. I show you how to do that in video 1. And today is the hope that I can just finish in setting up everything that I have here so that I am not thinking about watering anymore. I can just have it on an automatic system, and I am very happy with how things are going so far. So let me just give you an idea of how everything is here set up. This is where I'm going to be doing all of my setup for my timer and splitting the hoses and all of that. We'll do that here in a minute. But let me just show you. I have that black tubing piece right over there. That one is going all the way to the top over there, to where those two beds meet, way up there. So I have the line going all the way over there, and from there I start making my divisions. I start guiding the black tubing. This is just guiding the water. I haven't installed any of the drip irrigation part just quite yet. At this point, I still have not installed any of the brown tubing with the emitters in it. Right now, I'm just guiding the water to every single bed. Every single bed right now has access to water. And the next step will be to install the brown tubing, the 1/4 inch tubing with the emitters. So let me show you how every single setup on the bed looks like. So we are walking along this bed, and on the back of the bed, closer to that shed, is where the black tubing line is going. And remember, this is just for carrying on with the water. We haven't installed anything just yet. And right here is the first bed, is the first installation that I have. As you can tell, I have an access there where I split the water, and I installed the elbow, I installed my on and off valve, and I have all of those fittings there nicely done. And I have the tubing coming here towards the end of the bed, and I have my end cap right there installed. So this line right here, this very short line of black tubing, is what's going to be providing water for all of this bed. We continue that black tubing line, and we go against that raised bed on the back side because I don't want to see any tubing on the front. And I'm going all the way up. And right here, I have something slightly different going on. I have the black tubing going straight because I need to feed the other bed that is on this side. But right here, I need to keep on going with the water so that I can provide water to the rest of the beds on this side, on the left side. So right here, I did the same thing that I did with my other bed. I have an elbow going to that bed. I have my on and off bulb, and I have the black tubing that basically is going to be fitting that bed with the end cap at the end. And this guy right here, this line that is coming right here, this is the one that is going to be providing water for the rest of the beds. And I left everything as is. I didn't bury anything. I haven't quite attached a lot of the black tubing just yet because I wanted to show you how it looked like before I try to hide it. What I'm going to be doing is that I am going to be digging around the mulch. I'm going to be using garden staples. I am going to be using 1/2 inch clamps to make sure that when I have everything said and done, I don't have anything wiggling around because when the water turns on, it's just going to have enough power to kind of wiggle this tubing. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and set up and that I don't have it kind of going around. All right, back where we were. So I did the same thing on the other bed, and this is the bed where I had all of my zinnias, and this is the bed that I am actually saving for all of my asparagus. And this is the only bed that I did a little bit different. Instead of having the black tubing going along the width of the bed, I went and I made it go all the way half along the length of the bed. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the rest of the bed is just going to be hosting asparagus this year. And I don't think that I want to have it on a weekly basis as far as watering goes. So I only provided black tubing towards half of that bed, and I am just going to be attaching the brown tubing for half of that bed. I hope that makes sense. So if we move back, I have the water coming here all the way to this bed. I make a 90-degree turn here so that I can have the rest of these beds on the side. And basically, I did exactly the same thing here. I used the accessories that I showed you in the first video, and I actually had to use a clamp right here because it was wiggling just kind of everywhere. But I am going to be using a lot of those clamps, and that's how I'm going to be attaching all of my black tubing to most of the raised beds, making sure that they're nice and secure. I mentioned these on and off bulbs. I have one on every single raised bed that I have, just to make sure that whenever I don't need water for those raised beds, that I can just turn them on and off as needed. And right here, if we move back this way, you can see that I have basically the same setup for every bed. Right here is basically where the last bed is with irrigation, at least for this zone. And I needed to make sure that the water will stop there, but I still wanted to make sure that I had access to that water if I needed. So I just left a good chunk of tubing there so that if I need to carry on with that water in the future, I can just attach it to it. I have an end cap there so that it's easier for me to do that. And that is basically it, you guys. So what I'm going to be doing next is that I am going to install my brown tubing, my 1/4-inch tubing, and I am going to basically be covering every area that I want to bring water to. That is super easy. That's going to be probably the easiest part of all the system. But before I do that, I need to show you the cutest timer that I got for these beds. I love it, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it too. I love these timers, you guys. Let me show you. Oh, this is nice. Do you see this color? I love this color. These timers are made by Rainpoint, which happen to be sponsoring this video, you guys. If you have been here for a while, you know that I don't do many sponsorships. I just don't feel like I trust every single company that contacts me to do a sponsorship. But when Rainpoint contacted me about working together on maybe me using one of their products, I told them that I needed a little bit of time to do a little bit of research because I wasn't sure, who they were, and I haven't had any products from them before in my garden. And when I started doing research and I saw many people that have lovely gardens using their products, especially their Wi-Fi timers, I was very excited to work with them because these are going to be perfect for what I need today, for having an automated system in my raised beds. And let me show you really quick how they look like. I ordered their 2 connections timers, and you can connect basically the hose right here, and then you can have one area going to one zone and another area going to a different zone, and I absolutely love it. First, they look amazing. I mean, look at this. Doesn't that look like something super fancy? It feels really nice and well built, and they are basically managed through an app, you guys. And if you are anything like me, you have plenty of apps controlling things in your home, things that you're using, and just being able to set up your zones, turn on the water, turn off the water outside through your app on your phone. It's a huge plus for me, because I don't have to be kneeling down trying to push buttons, trying to see what works, what doesn't, trying to do everything automatically straight from the actual timer. And this is the piece. This is basically where you're going to do all your hookups. I'm going to show you how I'm doing that so it makes more sense. But this is basically what plugs in your house. This is what is going to connect the Wi-Fi through your phone, the timer is going to be basically making it easier for your timers to talk to each other. And the cool thing about this, what I just find out after reading some of the reviews, is that the outlet, you see the outlet right there? You need to use a outlet in your house, and if you feel like you lose that, you are basically gaining a smart outlet, which you can also control from your phone. I mean, how cool is that? And I really love this idea, you guys. I love having the ability to have full control through an app on my phone, because I'm already doing that for so many things, and just doing this for my irrigation outside is just, it's priceless. And I ordered 2 of them. I ordered another one, and I think that I'm going to be using this one for my garden path on my stepping stone path. I haven't installed anything yet, but this is going to make it super easy for me to control. Another cool thing about these timers, you guys, and that it also makes me really excited, is that if you have already your timers set up, you have them going on Monday and Thursdays, for example, but you happen to be outside one day and you notice that they just need a little bit of water and you want to do something, 1, you can do it through your app, like I mentioned, or 2, they have these buttons on the main pieces. They have 1 button for the left, 1 button for the right, and you can have this set up so that when you're outside, if you push this button, these guys will water your garden for 10, 20, 40, up to an hour. You can do that setup from the app. You can set it up to whenever you push the button, you can just do 5 minutes of watering. You can do 25 minutes of watering. So that's really cool, because I do that a lot with my other timers, with my regular digital timers that I have by the hydrangea hedge. I just love this, you guys. I am super excited, and I will give you a full update here in a year, here next spring, about how I'm liking this. But I know from the reviews that I have seen online from other gardeners using these guys, they are very happy with their performance. So I know I'm just going to love these guys. And also, you don't know this yet, but this is going to match something. This color right here is going to match something in my garden pretty soon, so stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so I already went outside. I put batteries in my timer, which I have right here. It uses 4 AA batteries, and I already plug in the hub inside, which is about, if I have to guess, I will say it's about maybe 35, 40 feet away from this piece, and it's really close to my router, to my Wi-Fi router. And I downloaded the app. The box comes with plenty of instructions on how to do that. Is very self-explanatory. I downloaded the app. I added the 2 devices, the hub and these 2 timers, dual timer, and it was super easy, you guys. That was gonna take me a while, and it took me like less than 5 minutes, honestly. You can name the zones, you can name each connection. This right here is what I'm going to do my connections. In my first video, I show you that I have the water coming from the house with the hose and through a hose. So the hose kind of comes back here, it's behind my hose reel, and this is where I have the hose. And let me show you how everything is going to be connected. I have it kind of explained right here. Okay, so hopefully this can make sense to you. This is the hose, this right here. This right here, this is the hose where the water comes from the house. I have it on the ground right now. I don't have anything to where to hang it. This works very, very well for me. So because this is my water access, I am going to have a splitter. See that? So this is my splitter that is basically going to be attached to this water hose. And I am not going to do this exactly very well. I'm just going to show you how it will look like at the end. So from here, I will have this access, this line right here, fitting my hose reel because I want water on at all times. And with this divider, with this splitter, I can turn the water on and off if I need to. So right here, this access right here will feed my HOSELINK with water at all times, 24/7. As long as my water is on, that is. This right here is something that you really need to use when it comes to irrigation system, you guys. This piece right here, I got it from Amazon, and it's a pressure regulator and a backflow preventer. This is also going to be hooked right here. And the reason why I choose to do that is that I don't really know if my water pressure is like super strong, that it's just going to make damage to my irrigation system. That's something you're going to have to figure out. I chose to have one just in case I need it. It's very cheap, very inexpensive, and it's just another attachment. And you can place this guy at the end of your timer. But I just chose to do this right here because if I do have a water pressure for my HOSELINK right here, I don't really want it to limit that pressure for my HOSELINK, but I do want it to make sure that it's okay for my irrigation system. So from here is where I am going to attach my timer. And again, I am doing this kind of very lazy, in a lazy way, just so that I can show you how it looks like when it's all ready and done. So this is how it will look like. This is my main water access. My water access is just going to go for my HOSELINK and for my irrigation here. Now, I do have two zones here. I have two access for my irrigation system here. And this is perfect, you guys. I chose to have two because this guy right here is going to fill all of my raised beds. My wood raised beds, this is basically the zone that I'm going to have. And this guy right here, I am going to add another set of black tubing and brown irrigation tubing that is going to feed my corten steel beds. And I do want to handle them from here. So these are going to be two different zones. The reason why I chose to divide them is because I don't want to have too many lines, too many spaces to feed at once. That way, if I divide them, it's a better for making sure that every single emitter has plenty of water, plenty of pressure to feed every single corner of where I need it. So this is basically it for installing this timer and everything else that I have here. Like I say, it will look very different in your garden for the way that you are doing things. It's just going to depend where you have your water, how far you need it to go. I know a lot of people that have huge gardens and they get 2 or 3 of these timers just so that they have zones. They have some for their raised beds, they have some for their containers, they have some for their in-ground beds. It just depends how your garden is set up and how much space you have and your budget as well. Very happy so far with the setup, with the build of this timer. Let's move on with finishing up the irrigation system because it's getting really hot out here and I'm very excited to try it. Okay, so now that we have our black tubing set up where we want the water to be, I have my timers installed. I have basically the water where I need it to be. But before I install my brown tubing, my 1/4 inch brown tubing with the emitters, I want to make sure that I don't have any leaks on my main lines, on the black tubing, the 1/2 inch. So what I did is that I just run the water with the timers, my automatic timers. I run the water and I have no leaks. The connectors, everything that I'm using, which I'm going to be listing, is not from one company. I think that I use a couple of companies for the connectors. I love those, you guys. They were very easy to attach, very, very easy to use. And I know that some people recommend having one company for all of their connectors and all of their tubing, and that is very, very true. But I could not find one single company that had these timers in all of the connections that I needed, in the quantities that I needed it, and also the tubing as well. So I use a couple of companies. Like I said, I'll put all of the links below, but I have no leaks whatsoever. Now that I know that I don't have any leaks, what I did is that I opened all of the ends. All of the end caps of my black tubing I remove, and I just let the water run for a few minutes. I want to make sure that before I put my brown tubing, my tiny 1/4-inch tube in there, I want to make sure that I don't have any soil in the main tubers. I want to make sure that I don't have any mulch, anything that may block the tiny 1/4-inch tubing. I want to make sure that it's out of there. So like I said, I did all of that already. No leaks, no soil in the main tubers. And again, you guys, there are many different ways to do this. Some people prefer one or the other because of a personal reason. Some people believe in some things done differently. I'm just showing you what I'm doing here today, and hopefully this will work great for me. And I'm very excited because so far everything is, is coming like a puzzle together. So let's get this done. Okay, you guys, so right now the only things that I need to finish all of this irrigation system is my 1/4-inch brown tubing with the 6-inch emitters. The distance from one emitter to the other is 6 inches. And my husband is also doing a lot of projects. So what I was saying is that I have my brown tubing with 6-inch emitters, and that's basically what I'm going to be installing, and it's super easy. This is probably going to be the easiest part of the whole process. I have my pruners, which I love. I have a hole punch. This is basically a hole maker that I'm going to be using. I'll show you here how to do it in a minute, but I'm going to be basically making the hole, and that's how I'm going to be installing my brown tubing. And I am going to use regular garden staples that I'm going to be holding. This even though this has been in the sun for a little bit, it's not quite moldable, so if I need to keep it in place, I am just going to use these garden staples. I am not going to use end caps for my 1/4-inch tubing. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to attach the beginning of the tubing here. I'm going to go the length of the raised bed, and I am going to bring it back, kind of like do a U-turn. I'm going to bring it back, and the other end is going to be attached to the black tubing as well. So from both ends of the brown tubing, I am going to be giving it water. And a lot of people do this in different ways. Some people just run single lines, and they put an end cap to the brown tubing. That works as well. Other people do one line, and they just kind of wiggle it around through the entire bed. Do whatever feels right for you. Do depending on how big your garden beds are or how small they are. This bed is kind of big. This one is 4. This one is 3 by 10, I believe. So I am going to do a couple of lines. I am going to try to space my brown tubing about maybe 6 to 10, maybe 8 inches or so from each other. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how everything turns out to be. But I'm going to do all of this. I'm just going to kind of fast forward everything, and wish me luck. am very, very happy with how everything is looking, you guys. I already tested this system several times. I have my timer set up so that whenever I'm out here, if I need to do something manually, I just push the buttons and I will give in my garden about 10 minutes of water. It's easier for me to think that way, and I know that it's going to take me a while to figure out how much water, how many times a week I need to run the system. It's something new for me, and it's going to depend highly on the weather and the kind of plants that I have out here. I'm very, very excited to say the least. Yes, it took me a while, but it is very, very doable. If you are somewhat intimidated by installing an irrigating system because all of the accessories and tubing and connections, don't be afraid. My advice for you will be for you to watch a lot of videos on how people do their own in their own homes, and that way you can kind of pick up the knowledge. You can kind of see what some people are doing and make your own for your own garden. I hope that this video was inspiring for you. I hope that pick up a thing or two on something regarding irrigation systems. I am going to put links below in this video with everything that I use, every single thing that I can think of. And let me know in the comments if you plan to do something close or something similar like this in your own garden. I know that this is going to be a huge, huge time saver for me here in my own, and I cannot wait at the end of the year or maybe even next spring to give you an update on how it works for me, how I make it work. And if you made it all the way here in this video, I thank you and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, you guys, and until the next time.